today's video we're going to be having a look at something new. A lot of you have been asking me about the Cambridge exams, and in particular the computer-based exam and the differences between the paper exam and the computer-based exam. And where I am, we still don't actually have the computer-based exam yet. But I know across Europe, and especially in some parts of the world now, this test format is pretty much taking over. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is running through the use section of the exam, what it's going to look like on the computer screen, what some of the buttons do. So this video will be very, very useful if you're planning to take one of the Cambridge exams, for example, the FCE or the First for Schools or the First, and you've never actually seen the exam on a computer screen. This video is going to be about the use. I should point out now that all parts of the exam are exactly like the paper-based exam. So the use is together with the reading, but I'm just doing the use by itself for the video's sake. There will be another video going over the reading as well. But anyway, let's get straight to it, shall we? So first of all, what you're going to do is when you sit down at your computer, you're going to have to check your details basically. So your name, your candidate number, and this is obviously very important because this is what, if you pass, of course, this is what your certificate will say. So you need to make sure everything is spelt correctly and everything is fine. If you're happy here, there'll be a little button that you click and you'll go on to some instructions. So here they're going to tell you you have 1 hour 15 minutes to complete the use and the reading part of the exam. Please answer all questions. Go general instructions. And then there's a little button, Start Test. So as soon as you click this Start Test, that's right, you've started the test. So when you click it, you're going to go to a screen like this. Ooh, looks very scary. So let's go over a few things before I continue here. Let's start at the top, shall we? So if you have a look at the very top in the middle, there's a time. Okay, and this is literally a countdown. So you're going to have like 75 minutes and it's going to count down. So you're going to see the countdown go. Across from that, up here, you'll go in the top corner, you'll see a help button. This is exactly that. You'll click it and it'll go through and tell you what each of the little buttons does and so on and so forth. And there's also a hide button. I'll cover that in another video. Moving down, you'll see instructions for part 1. So this is where it's going to say you need to click an option and put it in the gap because it's part 1 of the use. And down here where you see the main box, you will actually see the text. So the part 1 text with the gaps. And the way this works is very, very simple. As we know in the paper-based exam, you have an A, B, C, D option, and you've got to, circle one of those and put it down on, or mark it in on your answer sheet. Here, you don't really have an answer sheet, but what you do have is the gap. So you literally just click on the gap. As soon as you do that, the 4 options will appear, and you just click on one of them, and it'll go into the gap. Simple as that. If for some reason you want to change your answer, you just click on the gap again and click on another option. Really, really easy and straightforward. And there'll also be an X. So for some reason, if you don't like any of the options and you just want to leave it blank, you can do that. And it'll just leave it blank for you. At the bottom of the screen, they have what is called a navigation bar. This pretty much is you'll see all the parts of the test. So in the use and reading paper, you'll see part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. That's the use, and in part 5, part 6, part 7. So this navigation bar is basically a quick way to jump around from question to question and section to section. And again, I'm going to cover that in detail in another video. You'll see beside the navigation bar, there's like a diagonal arrow going down. If you click on this, the navigation bar will become smaller. You click on it again, it will become larger. And right next to that, there's an arrow pointing forwards, and that is really, really simple. That is go forward. Okay, so part one, where you're picking an A, B, C, all you've got to do is click on the gap and click on your answer, and it'll go in there. All right, so moving on to part two, a little bit different. You'll see the screen is pretty much exactly the same. The only real difference is you'll see down in the corner here, there's two arrows now, so you can go back and go forward. So once again, you're going to have, in fact, for part two and for part three of the use, so that is another gapped text and also the word transformation. What you're going to have is the text with the gaps, and all you've got to do is click on the gap and you actually type in your answer, whatever it may be. Okay, and that goes for part two and part three of the use. Really, really straightforward, exactly as you would expect. Great stuff from Cambridge, great stuff. Part four, this is where you have the sentence transformation, and what you're going to have here is the sentences, or the questions I should say, are going to appear here one at a time. Yeah, so you'll have your sentence, you'll have your word and a gap, and you just click on it and type between 2 and 5 words. And if you're happy with that, you can click forward and then you'll go on to the next question. Simple. And as well as this, you can see on the navigation bar, every time you click forward, you're going on to the next question, just in case you double click and pass one. So you do have to be careful of that aspect of it and to check over your work. There is also a button which I actually haven't put here. It's on the other side of the navigation bar, which is called Review. And if there are any questions that you're not sure about, or perhaps you think you've made a mistake, you can click the Review button, and in the nav bar it'll go blue. So this kind of reminds you when you finish the test that you maybe need to go back and check that. And again, I'll be going over this in detail in a later video. So pretty much that's it, really. They are the 4 parts of the use in the exam. They're exactly the same as the paper-based exam. So in part 1, you click on the gap and 4 options are going to appear, and you click on the option you want to go in the gap. In part 2, 3 and 4, there's going to be gaps, and you literally click on it and then write in whatever the word or the words that you want to put in there, depending on the part and the instructions. And yeah, that's really it. So if you need any help with the use of English, have a look at some of these videos where we give you some hints and tips and some things that you should be thinking about. And as I said, the paper-based and the computer-based test are exactly the same, so the same things work for both of them. If you're watching this video and you've taken the computer-based test and there's any comments or anything that you would like to add, please put them in the comments. Or if you know anyone who is going to be taking the computer-based test, make sure you share this video with them. And what I'm going to be doing as well, just in the video details, is I'll put a link actually to the Cambridge site where you can actually go through and see with your own eyes what a test looks like, and I would highly advise you do that. In fact, Cambridge have even done a little tutorial video for you to listen to. I think it's 8 minutes long and it's fantastic, so you should all check that out. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.